Welcome to the Artist Academy podcast, a place where we focus on the business side of art to help you attract more customers, which increases your profits to ultimately live a life of creativity and financial freedom. I'm your host, Andrea Earhart, and this week I have another guest for you. She's all the way from Melbourne, Australia, Miss Danielle Weber, and we talk about murals, how she's pricing her canvas and mural projects at $10, $20, $30,000+. This is going to be a good one, especially if you're into painting large scale. We go through a lot of business things like we always do. She gives some great tips on video, and it's just overall, I had a really great conversation with her. I think if she didn't live all the way in Australia, we'd probably hang out. So let me know what you think about this interview with Danielle Weber. All right, Danielle, I've been following you on Instagram. I feel like we've been Instagram friends, like watching each other, like liking each other's stuff for a while. And so I'm excited to talk all about murals with you. And so can you, for anybody who doesn't follow you on Instagram just yet, can you give us a snapshot of who you are, what you do, how you got into the art world, that whole bit?
Yeah, I feel like we have been Insta buddies for a while, and we're trying to set this up with the time zone. So thank you so much for your patience and for having me on. So I've been an artist for about 15 years now and started in the studio on smaller canvases and then just got asked to do a mural. And I was like, no, have no idea where to start. Finally took the leap, and I've been doing murals for nearly 10 years now. But I guess I grew up pretty creative. It was the only thing I could focus on. And then I think through the loneliness of the journey, similar to you, I've listened to a lot of your podcasts, and knowing who to go to and where to learn, I've built a community for that help and that support in Australia, because there's not a lot going on here. And we go to uni and we come out and we sort of think, oh my gosh, where do we start with the business side of things? And murals are quite dangerous. So yeah, I've developed a deep passion for that, as well as still being on the tools and working on murals too.
Yeah. So how did you, I guess you do a little bit of everything. You do portraits really well. How did you get into doing portraits? Have you always liked that?
Yeah, I started with like a lot of grayscale portraits. Color was something that was so daunting to me. And I used to sketch. I don't know how to draw anymore, which is so funny. But I used to sketch portraits, more so copy, like I just copy references. But then I think I was just curious about like human faces, the stories they tell, and loved eyes. And I think that's where portraits started for me, because I was obsessed with eyes. So yeah, I think I just experimented with it. And then obviously people saw, and then they were like, can you paint my dad's mum's brother's sister or my grandparents? And I got asked to paint portraits, and a lot of them were personal to begin with, which were tough to do, but it was a good time to learn. And yeah, that's kind of how I started. And then they got bigger and bigger. And then as you do murals, you realize that it's essentially the same principles, just on a bigger scale. So yeah, I get a bit obsessed with it, I'd say.
Cool. And you did a mural recently. You just posted another video about it, which I remember from back then. It was a basketball scene with an audience of how many faces?
Amanda Newman art. I don't know if you follow her. She follows you, I'm pretty sure, but her daughter counted and it was over 1,000 faces. So yeah, lucky the detail didn't span all the way up, but there was still like a dense amount of detail in the first quarter of the wall, or the first third of the wall. So,
how much time does it take you to do one portrait, a decent amount of detail, and that?
We kind of calculated I could get a face down in like 3 hours maybe. But in saying that, I have one in my studio, which is 2 portraits that I've been working on for like 18 months. So I can do them quickly, but then also it's even harder to walk away from them. So I think, yeah, a big, large scale portrait, I'd give myself maybe like 3 days to do properly.
Nice. And so I noticed that you do a lot of murals, but you also do canvas art. I saw in some of your videos, you talk about that. Is the canvas art more for you? Is that also commissions?
I still take on a few selective commissions just to keep cash flow going, and obviously to keep me moving forward. I take on like maybe 3 a year, and then I try and allocate some time for me to create as well. I think anyone running a business once you get stuck in that business loop, you're kind of like, oh, it's really hard to dedicate that time for yourself as an artist. But I know more and more will come later on. But I think, yeah, it's a dream to be able to just sort of sit there and paint what you want all day, every day. Yeah, but canvas art, I think, is a really good stream of income as well. And it's nice to be like out of the chaos of murals for a little bit as well.
Yeah, definitely. How are you pricing your canvases versus how are you pricing your murals? Because like I'm also not familiar with Australia prices.
Yeah. So I price them quite similarly. Like for me, canvases almost take longer than murals. So by the time you consider the logistics of mural, they're very similar in a sense. I might spend more hours, but I'm in the comfort of my studio. So I think like I have a base rate of 7,500 Australian dollars, which is probably about 5,000 US. And both my canvases and my murals start from there. And that's just like my safety net of, I know how much time I'm going to put into it. I can't really do any less than that because I'm obsessed with it. So yeah, that, and I know I'll get like the best out of my work if I've quoted like properly. So yeah, so my canvases span anywhere from generally like 10,000 to 30,000 Australian. And then my murals, 10,000 to like, obviously there's a higher range depending on like the size of it as well. So very similar, which I don't think is very common. I feel like most people would probably charge less for canvases. Is that what you find over there?
It depends. I think it's a lot easier to get hired for a mural job than it is to do canvases, I think. But I don't know. I've also not put a whole lot of effort into canvases, and I'm starting to go in that direction a little bit more recently. And so I have some hope, but I don't know. Yeah.
I listened to one of your last podcasts on when you're like working, and then you get to a period, you're like, oh my gosh, like I haven't focused on like leads for the next few months and things like that. I think canvas work is like, and I listened to you about, I think I mentioned it about like doing some more canvas commissions and things like that. Yeah, I think they're a good like filler for murals, but it's so funny because you'll be on a mural, be like, I can't wait for a break. And then you get in the studio like, I can't wait to be back on a mural. And it's like, we can't please ourselves as artists, can we?
Yeah. So sure. So, and you don't have kids yet, right?
No, definitely.
I can tell. You're like doing all these things. I'm like, that was me before kids.
Yeah. Yes. Yeah.
I love it.
And like, honestly, you inspire me because you and there's a couple of other artists that have recently had kids, and it was like something that terrified me. I'm like, how am I going to, like, can I still work? Obviously the capacity will be different, but like seeing you do it, I think is so important for female artists as well. So thank you. Because unless you see it, you're like, oh, is it possible? Can I do it? But yeah, it's something that's on the cards for maybe the next 5 years or so, but it's still a scary thought.
Yeah. I feel like I overthought it until I was like, okay, I'm just gonna have to do this. And then the second kid too, I feel like I overthink that too. And then I'm just gonna be like, okay, we're just gonna have to do it.
Yeah. Good on you.
So what do you have on the books right now? Or what's something that you're excited about a job that you want to get, or like, what are some of your goals right now?
Great question. I definitely want to do at some point like a big silo piece. I don't know if you've seen them in Australia, but there's like the silo trails. So at some point I want to do that and tick that off. But at the moment, I'm just really excited about working with good people. I've taken on a lot less work this year, which is a big step when you're used to being really, really busy. But I've just been really selective with who I work with, and I just get excited about, I guess, doing more purposeful work and enjoying the process more rather than rushing. So I think the community and working with artists has done that. And yeah, giving back to them has made me realize like I've really got to slow down and enjoy this journey more as well. So yeah, that excites me now, which is a very different, I guess, narrative to the last few years, which have been go, go, go. And it's like, how many murals can we do in 1 year? But no, now I'm like, how can we enjoy the process more?
Yeah. How are you finding customers, or how are they finding you?
Great question. I do a lot of my outreach through, and it's how I started as well, unknowingly. When I first started, I was putting up posts on my Facebook page, my personal page, just being like, this is what I do. If anyone needs a piece, reach out. And I was in my, messaging and commenting. So I had no idea that was actually outreach back then, 15 years ago. But I do a similar method now, whereas like I sell in my DMs and I qualify leads in my DMs. So there's a lot of call to actions on my page, but they don't typically look like, if you need a mural, message me here. I trial a lot and look into like the psychology of how people buy and how people connect. So generally have those conversations, and a lot of my work comes through social media, mainly Instagram.
Okay, so what do those call to actions look like exactly? And where are they?
Yeah, so they're generally in the comments in my caption, and I will be very much sifting through my comments. I'm automating it now, but for many years I was like, I need to actually learn, so I need to see and do. But it might be, obviously there's a generic one. If you need a DM, if you want a mural, comment this and I'll send you a link to my like expression of interest form. Other people ask questions I'll do maybe like what would you get painted on your wall? And then people will comment, and then I'll start that conversation with them there. Equally, a lot of people are just really curious about murals. So if they do write questions, I might sometimes send them a DM and just be like, hey, like if you are interested in something XYZ, it might not convert then, but it might convert, 6 months or a year later. I've been trying some other like more quirky ways. Like I did like a news interview. It was a bit like controversial. I was like, I'm Melbourne's best artist. It's not a crime to be that. And that converted like 4 or 5 leads. So just doing things that are different and not directly salesy, I've found work really well to get good leads.
Okay. So putting something up, a mural that you just completed, and then asking people to comment about how they would want it done. And then you have really eye-catching videos, ones that are like, just, you can tell that you have a lot of personality in them too. You let your personality come through in your videos. So who is videoing you? And I know there's some of them where you're being videoed. Like, who is videoing you in these?
Good question. I have a videographer. So I've worked with like various videographers over the years, which I find is really good because it means you're sort of learning from different people, investing in your content, and also like banking some quality content that you can like reuse. So videographers, but also I had a full-time employee for a bit, which we did content together. Sometimes I'll just use a tripod and do it myself. Other times I'll be like, here, mum, grab the phone, or like to my partner, grab the phone. I think I've gotten really comfortable with just not caring and sort of just getting it done. I think a good way to start though with content, if you are going to put out volume, is having a couple of like film days where you just bank a heap of content and get it all done. So you don't fluff around, we call it. Don't procrastinate and just get it done.
I really like to talk to guests and get out of them, like, what is your secret sauce? Like, what is something you think you do really well? And so far, I've gotten you make really good videos. You really just do the thing, not just doing posts of like, okay, this is what I painted today. You more of like, try to get engagement with your customers, and then you engage with them in your direct messages. What does your direct message conversation look like? Are you just straight up being like, okay, what would you like painted? Let's get to it. Well, or how does that go?
It depends on if people are really forthcoming and they're like, this is what I want. I definitely want a mural. I'll get pretty straight to the point. I think one of the biggest like secret sauce things to ask is what's people's best method of contact, because a lot of the time they might not like emails. Like we all know, like you gravitate towards one platform. I'm really responsive on WhatsApp, but sometimes emails, it takes me an extra couple of days to get back to. So I think asking, whether it's straight up or in the conversation at some point, what their preferred method is really, really good. But it depends on how forthcoming they are. If they are saying, yep, we want a mural, I'll say, if you could send me a photo of the wall, rough dimensions and what you have in mind, that would be great. And then we can jump on a call, or I can give you some rough quoting. If I feel like they're time wasters, I might just say straight up, hey, my murals start from $7,500. Send me more information. I can give you a more accurate quote. That generally qualifies a lead straight away. It's like a yay or a nay. So I think figuring out if it's a good lead pretty quickly, figuring out if they're good communicators really quickly is a good way to do it in the DMs as well, because it's quite personal. Whereas email is actually really hard to tell sometimes because you don't know if they're a good communicator or not. So if you're comfortable on the phone, sometimes just giving people a call. But yeah, getting various methods of contact is probably a really, really important one. So if they don't reply on DM, you can follow up maybe elsewhere as well.
Love it. Yeah. I love when a customer even asks me, they're like, hey, can I just text you this picture? I'm like, please, like text is my main one. So if you email me, like, I mean, I like to think I'm a good business person, but it can take a second.
Yes, exactly. Yeah. It's like emails. I'm like, okay, I need to be in the mindset and we're going to take an hour to do all my emails. So it's like, whereas text, it's like, okay, cool, easy, quick, done.
Yeah. So I guess, so how are people finding you? And like, do you apply for like art calls? Like what we do over here? Do you guys have those? Or is it
We
mostly
do.
coming from Instagram? Oh,
We do. We have, they're called EOIs generally, but I have applied for some. I've never been successful in any of them. And for me, I convert more in my DMs. And I think this is just important to sort of highlight that it works differently for everyone. I have this chat with Derek. They do a lot of email marketing. If you don't have a big audience, then yes, other methods will probably work better, but you're essentially using the same principles to qualify the leads, to figure out what if it's someone or something you want to work with. I think it's important to get familiar with EOIs and actually do them because it trains you on, and it also makes you get your like artist bio ready, your statement ready, your pictures ready, and it gives you that experience. So a lot of them I'll go into and I'll have a look at the budget and I'll just say, okay, that's probably not enough. So I won't bother. But if it is a decent budget, then I will.
yeah. Okay.
Yeah.
And so like, how did like your last 5 customers find you, or how did they come about?
A lot of repeat clients. So repeat clients are a big one. I'd say 50% of my work now is repeat or very, very direct referrals. So a close friend or just word of mouth is really powerful. And then I'd say the others came through my DMs. And then I always ask the client where they found me as well. And then I think one of them came through TikTok.
Nice. Okay. Yeah. Are you big on TikTok?
I got like 20,000 followers on TikTok.
Nice.
Yeah. It's not something I've put a lot of energy into, but I just sort of I always post what I post on Instagram there. I've never fully wrapped my head around it. So I feel like I need to put more energy into it.
Yeah. Instagram is your main one?
Yes. Yeah.
You do any Facebook?
Yes, as well. I got about 30,000 on Facebook and have just started monetizing as well, which is awesome because we were very behind on that in Australia.
Nice. Okay.
Yeah.
I guess what is your biggest tip on if somebody wanted to acquire a mural customer? Like where would you go if somebody was just starting out and they're listening to this and they're like, I want to do what she's doing. What's good advice for how you would get your first couple of mural customers?
Great. I think it's quite a daunting process. So I would start within your network, and whether that is like your family, your friends, or like maybe you have like a business network or a nice local business environment. But I would do a bit of an outreach and say, hey, I'm just starting Murals. Maybe do some idea hunting if you see like a hairdresser or someone that you want to work with, something that excites you. Maybe come up with a couple of ideas and just say, hey, I'm just starting Murals. I would absolutely love to be able, the opportunity to be able to paint on your wall. I'm offering like a very, very discounted rate because this is something new and I just want to experiment. Is that something that you have budget for? And just do like a very, very low rate. I think my first few murals I did for a couple $100 just to sort of get that content out there. Like similarly going for a job where when you're straight out of uni, they want you to have experience. And it's like, how do I have experience if I'm just starting? Yeah. So just getting those runs on the board so you can promote them as well. And then I just put it up on Facebook, put it in some local Facebook groups if you want, and just say, hey, I'm looking for some murals. Introduce yourself, be really honest and vulnerable, and you'd be really surprised at how many people will actually support. Nice.
Okay. What are some of the differences that you've seen, like the American mural industry versus you guys over there? Is it pretty much the same, or are you like, oh, they do something different over there?
I'd say it's quite similar from what I've seen. I feel like some of the conversations I've had say otherwise, but I can't remember what the key points were there. I'd say overall, artists are probably valued more than art in Australia. The research that I've done, art here is more community oriented and the value isn't as high as I guess in the States. It's from my research, it said that it's like more of a luxury and people value it for that reason. So yeah, very interesting. But in terms of like executing murals, no, I don't think it's too different.
Yeah.
I could
coach
be
some
so
people.
wrong. Please correct me if I'm wrong, someone listening.
No, I coach some people who are in Europe, and I find that it's a bit different over there because they have so much historic stuff. But so
Yes.
I was just curious, based on conversations with them, how it was different.
Yeah. Yeah.
It's winter where you are right now, right?
It is, yes. But
Yeah.
it doesn't get anywhere near as cold as what it does there, I don't think. And we still complain. So
And then you said you're in Melbourne. That's a pretty big city, right? How big?
6 million, I think. 7 million.
Oh, wow. Yeah.
Yeah.
I
Pretty
love
big.
it. Okay.
Yeah.
And then you have a studio?
I do, yes.
Tell us
I
about that.
bought myself a warehouse. When I started, it was not that I would change it. I actually loved it, but I was painting in the middle of my parents' kitchen. Then I was in a spare room. Then I was in my grandparents' garage for a bit. So I was literally just working wherever I could. And I realized that I valued a bit of organization and a safe space that I could protect. So yeah, purchasing a studio was something I did, and I worked really hard. And yeah, I bought my warehouse. I've got like a studio downstairs and an office upstairs. And yeah, that was kind of at the 10-year mark too. So it was a nice anniversary present for myself.
So cool. I think that's every artist's dream, is to have a dedicated space that you create and work out of. How far is it from where you live?
About 10 minutes. So it's
Nice.
close. Yeah, I am moving and it'll be about 15 minutes away. So convenience, and we know time is really important. So that was a big thing as well.
So you bought a warehouse. How did that come about? How did, like, instead of being like, no, I don't want an office space, I want a warehouse.
I think working in such confined spaces and not having any organization, I realized that I was like, I just want to see what I have. And then I'm not wasting materials. And especially because I had the canvas side of things and the mural side of things, I was acquiring a lot of equipment. I don't know. I think I've always seen like big studio spaces with high ceilings, and I was like, I need good light and good energy. And I just sort of started going, and I didn't really tell anyone. I just sort of started going and looking at the market and going to inspections. And one popped up where I was buying off the plan, so you can save quite a lot of money. And then, yeah, so I did a fair bit of research before I bought. I'd never bought a property before, so it was very daunting and a very new experience for me. I signed the contracts and then COVID hit, so that was also very terrifying as an artist. I was like, oh my gosh, I've just bought a property and I'm not technically going to be able to work, but no, we made it work, so it was good.
Nice. So cool.
Yeah.
How much was it? Can I ask that?
No, yeah, that's fine. I bought it for just under $400,000.
Oh, wow.
And now it's probably worth, 4 years later, about $650,000.
Oh, nice. Do you have plans to sell it, or?
No, I'll hold on to it, but it's like really good to know that a business investment like that has given like return, not only in like financially, but obviously for growth as an artist as well. So that's like doubling down on the investment. So I think it's important to note that there's really good tax deduction opportunities as well as an artist. And yeah, like you obviously work really hard, so you have to maximize like every dollar you earn too. So it's a good opportunity to do that. I won't say how I do it because it might be very different in the States, but that's something to look into.
Yeah, I'm sure our tax system is different, but still, it's good to have a lot of deductions. But I think I know for myself too, especially artists starting out, it's like if you were to say like, hey, you can have your own space, but it's going to be 400,000, people be like, whoa, okay.
Yeah,
but you're making good money with it, and you're growing. And so when did you buy it? You said it was at your 10-year mark?
Yeah, so about 5 years ago now, and moved in about 4 years ago, I think it was. So yes.
Yeah. And I love talking about that kind of a thing, because that there is like the ceiling of growth that you hit, and you're going to have to spend a little bit of money to get to that next area. Yeah,
definitely important to note. I think as you grow in that period there, I think, it's sort of like 10 steps back forwards and then 20 steps backwards. And then in order to grow, you kind of need to go through that another stage of uncomfortable. And for me, it was, I'm earning really good money. Okay, cool. We're going to go spend that on a studio and like basically start again in terms of setting up a space. So, and then when you're building something new as well, like a community, it's like, okay, all of my money that I'm earning is going into that now. So it's like different phases of growth, what you said. So that's a really good thing to note.
Yeah. Awesome. So what are some just bits of business advice that you would give an artist that you tend to give the artists that you coach a lot? So like what's something that you're continually advice that you're shifting out?
Yeah, I'd say valuing yourself. With that, honestly, so much confidence comes, and you'd be surprised by how much more you can charge and by how much more you can earn. And it's not even a monetary thing, but it's like, holy crap, like I just got paid $40,000 for that mural. And you begin to really put that out there. Like I value myself and this is what I deserve as an artist and I work hard, etc. And it makes it's not only like for you as an artist, it's for all of us collectively, increasing that value and making sure that we're getting paid what we deserve as a niche, as a very rare form of a trade or an art that not a lot of people can do. So putting those boundaries in place, charging more, and then focusing. Another one I do focus on a lot is mindset, and knowing that like you have to, to be able to be like a high performing artist, you need to focus on mindset, and your physical strength is really important as well to be able to sustain murals. As you know, the body gets tired. So yeah, staying strong as well.
Love it. Can you tell us about your coaching program? What are you doing within it? Like, how is it structured and how can somebody join if they like what they hear?
So there's a community on school, which is more of a community-led program, I guess. It's a small monthly membership. So if you want just to connect with other artists in one spot and have that support, there's a couple of modules on there and there's some tools there that are really helpful. If you need a little bit more guidance and you are making that leap maybe from work to full-time art, then the D Collective Studio is probably more of a space for you because it's a little bit more intimate. And I've structured it that there's 2 weekly calls, live weekly calls, and then there's an abundance of coursework that's self-led and that you can do at any point. A lot of coursework there. So, and they have tasks to keep you accountable. We have a group chat, which is beautiful to see everyone connecting. And I think, just not being alone on that journey. So you can reach out and fill out a form if you'd like. But equally, there's people like you in the States doing it so well, mentoring. So if the time zone aligns better, then definitely you're the place to go. And especially Derek as well. Like you guys are, I think we all know who are helping and coaching. We all know how much energy it takes, but we also know how important it is. So thank you for the work you do.
Yeah, sure thing. And I think it's good to just get a variety of advice from people, because I have one thing I like to do really well, and I do a couple other things too, and I can share, but you have a different set, and Derek has a different set, and other people, like I chat with Mural Nomad a lot.
Yes,
do you know
PJ,
her? Yeah, she's great too. She comments a lot on my stuff, and I try to keep up with her too, and I think it's way better if we all just work together. And I was just messaging her about her recent retreat. I was like, wouldn't it be cool if we like all did something together and had this like giant like mural business info painting thing one day?
I agree.
I'm just gonna put it out there.
Let's put that out there in the universe and let's make it happen. I don't really care where it is in the world because I love traveling. So
we'll like meet in like Hawaii or something. Or
yes, let's do it.
Sort of towards you guys.
I'm there. That's amazing. And I think that's what I've learned. Often we get in our own heads as artists being like, oh, they don't want to work with us or they don't want to collaborate. But once you put the feelers out there and you open those doors, people do start collaborating more. And I think sharing is really important. And I've gotten a lot from just having a community. It's not been as lonely for me as well. So as you said, better to work together. Everyone has different skills. Like, as you know, Derek, email marketing, like he's a gun at that. And that's something I've now opened to my audience. We're going to work together on that and sort of putting my hand up and being like, hey, I don't know everything, but we can connect to people who do.
Yeah, for sure. Yeah. And there's always different styles too. I know Derek has a very different style than I do even. And you have your own, but I really love to connect with women, especially who are doing this thing. And
100%. Yeah, I love that.
Thanks for coming on and chatting and sharing your day with us. And I'm going to continue to follow you and be entertained by your videos. And so thank you.
Likewise. Thank you. Thank you so much.